Okay, so we're back in my kitchen. We've been out foraging this afternoon for elderberries and blackberries, which half of them have already been eaten, by the way. So I'm now going to show you how you can actually clean your elderberries. So obviously when you bring them home, you might just want to leave them for a little bit to let, spiders and little beasties, whatever is in there, escape naturally. I tend to sort of just spread them out somewhere where there's quite a lot of light, so that they can just evacuate and make their way out. And then all you got to do, some people use a fork for this to actually trim them off, or you can just do it by hand, whatever you find easier. Either way, what you want to achieve is just make sure that you don't have any of the green ones. I mean, most of these are okay, there's just a few green ones, and that you can have some of the twigs, but you try and get to just the berries as much as physically possible. So that's the process. It's very messy, it's a bit long-winded, but it's once a year you do this, and it's such a worthwhile process. If you know that you're not going to process them straight away into your tinctures or your syrups or any preparations, then you can clean them and freeze them, and then they will be fine for a year. And then you can basically just, I tend to freeze them in little batches, so that I know that if I need a batch of fresh syrup or tincture or whatever, I can just take what I need and I don't have to defrost the whole batch. So just batch them up in like small 100-gram quantities, and that's sort of the best way forward. So let's get cracking and let's get these cleaned up. Okay, so that's the elderberries basically cleaned, taken off the stems. I have taken out, as many of the green ones as I could find. I think they're pretty much all gone now. There might be the odd little stem in there, but most of them are gone as well. So all I'm left to do now is just give them a little rinse if you want to. If you think, they could do with a cleanse. Mine are actually not bad at all, so I might not do that. And then some of them will get into some preparations, and I will show you some of those, and then the rest will be frozen, either to make medicine for myself and my family or my patients later this year or early next year, or also for some of my workshops, because I will be doing some workshops with these as well. So I hope you find that useful. It's quite easy to do, it's quite messy. I have basically managed to do not too bad considering, but yes, it does get quite messy, so do bear that in mind. So make sure you protect any sort of things that you don't want to get dirty. It does all go quite bright purpley red, so be careful with that. So I'm adding the vegetable glycerin to my elderberries, because the elderberries have got quite a high water content. You don't have to do the sort of 70-30 rule. You can just use pure vegetable glycerin. So there we have it. Nice and straightforward. As you can see, that's really, really easy, and that has done its thing. And all I'm going to do now is put that on some heat. Okay, so the elderberry is now on my hob, and I'm basically just going to bring that to the boil. And then once that's come to the boil, I'm just going to leave it to simmer very gently. So if I just show you what that looks like inside the pan now, it's got that beautiful thick consistency. So I used vegetable glycerin instead of using sugar, for instance, or honey, but you can use anything that you want to. It helps preserve, and obviously, it helps sweeten the elderberries as well, although I think personally that they're naturally quite gorgeous. So what we'll do now is we'll strain that. There's different ways of doing this, you know, probably as many different ways as there are herbalists, but you know, I quite like just using you know, a very plain sieve. I've got these lovely things, you know, which you can get in bulk, which you just spread over your sieve, and the idea is obviously there that you catch, you know, as much of the leftover of your plant material as possible. You then place that inside your whatever container you want to use, you know, which could, you know, in my case it's glass because I want to show you the beautiful color, but you can use a bowl or whatever you've got to hand. So let's get cracking. I will start straining that. So as I said, we have got our container, we've got you know, our sieve and some sort of cloth around that, just to make sure that you catch as much of the material as possible. And then all you do is just very carefully and slowly, look at that loveliness, and you just basically strain that through the cloth into your pan. So it's as easy as that. I'll just make sure all the goodness there has been caught. And then what you can do is you can just get a spoon to just mash that down a little bit more, just so that you get lots of that goodness straight into your liquid to help support you through the autumn and winter months. You just basically do that. Elderberry does absolutely stain everything, so you do want to be careful. As you can see, you know, that beautiful liquid is now in my bowl, and then you can just basically, you can squeeze this a little bit more if you like, just to get some more of the goodness into your liquid. Now obviously be aware that that will stain pretty much everything, so tread carefully, and obviously you need to make sure you use a very finely woven cloth, just to make sure that you don't get too many bits into your liquid, because obviously that will contribute to it potentially spoiling. Although I must say, you know, vegetable glycerin preparations are quite shelf stable. So as you can see, quite messy, but the end result, as you can see, is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so once you've done all of that and you've got this beautiful liquid, I hope you can actually pick up on the most amazing color. So, you know, very easy preparation. It's basically just elderberries with vegetable glycerin. These are all the leftovers. Now, obviously, you know, you might struggle to reuse this cloth. You can try, but you might struggle because the elderberry does stain, which is why it's such a popular choice for home dye projects, which we might do at some point as well. So all that's left to do now is basically just, you know, put it in your bottle. For most of my preparations that I know will need to be preserved a long time, I use dark glass bottles, but you know, you can use anything you have to hand. You know, a lot of people just use jam jars, you know, tomato sauce jars is something I quite often use as well in Junior Herbalist Club. It's just, you know, whatever you have to hand, and you just work with what you've got. Don't spend a lot of money on things initially. That's just silly. So I've got funnels. Obviously makes the process less messy. And then all we're left to do is just basically decant it into the bottle. So let's do that together. I'll just show you. Just want to check that you don't overflow, because you don't want your whole kitchen to turn the colour of elderberry. I think it would make quite a beautiful colour for a room, wouldn't it? And that's all firmly into my dark bottle now. I've actually got a little bit of room left, and then all that's left to do is just make sure you properly seal and vegetable glycerin actually lasts quite well. You don't have to store it in the fridge generally if you've been preparing it this way. And then you have 1 teaspoon a day as prevention, or if you do get sick, you have 3 teaspoons a day. You can just have it off the spoon, or you can add it to some hot water to make it into a really nice hot drink if you feel like, you know, you need that comfort from the heat, from the warmth of the water. And that's definitely an option as well. My kids really like this. You know, so it's a really good way to introduce children to herbal medicine by making it taste nice, and you know, it's great for adults alike as well. So I hope you will give this a go. There's loads of elderberry still in season. Just have a go. Catch up with you soon. Bye.